Assalamualaikum and hi. I'm Muhammad NAQIUDIN bin Muhammad ZAWARI, with my group member FAIZ HAFIZ, ANDRIAN Harry, NAQIB AIMAN, DANIELLA DHANYA, JOANNE, AHMAD FARHAN, and MCXAVIER. Now, let's discover more about the physics in the Ollie of the skateboarding.
So we're going to the next part, which is the case study background of Ollie. Skateboarding is an action sport that involves riding and performing tricks using a skateboard. It is also done as a recreational activity, an art form, an entertainment, industry job, and a method of transportation. With the evolution of skate parks and ramp skating, the skateboard began to transform. Early skate tricks had consisted mainly of two-dimensional tricks like riding on two wheels only, also called as wheelie or manual, spinning only on the back wheels, a pivot, and height, jumping over a bar and landing on the board again. In 1976, skateboarding was transformed by the invention of the Ollie by Alan Ollie Gelfand. It remained largely a unique Florida trick until the summer of 1978 when Gelfand made his first visit to California. He caught the attention of the West Coast skaters and the media, where it began to spread worldwide. The Ollie was then adapted to flat ground by Rodney Mullen in 1982.
So the objective for this case study is to study the physics behind the Ollie trick in skateboarding. Next, to relate the Newton's law of motion into the Ollie trick. And last but not least, to perform sample calculation using the formula and theory related.
Hello everyone, I'm going to talk about the theory and formula related to the Ollie trick in skateboarding. After a thorough discussion and research into this case study, we have concluded that the main idea in the Ollie trick is dominantly based on the Newton's third law of motion, which states that in every action there is always an equal and opposite reaction. By the way, this formula of theory is actually taken from chapter 4 from this course, which is about dynamics. First of all, we need to understand that the skateboard just moves up as a result of being pushed downwards. The ground practically doesn't get deformed, so it prevents the skateboard from penetrating in it by exerting back on the board a force of equal intensity. Below is the formula. Alright, so let's go to the next slide. In this next slide, we can see that there is illustration of how the forces acts upon the skateboard.
Hello guys, we're going to talk about the example of Ollie of skateboarding. There will be two scenarios in this example, which is the beginner Ollie and the higher Ollie. But now, we're going to discuss about the first scenario. In beginner Ollie, there are three types of forces included, which is F1, the force of leg on the tail of the skateboard, and the normal force or the force exerted by the ground, and next is F2, which is the force of leg on the front of the skateboard. Another one is W, which is the weight of the skateboard, and lastly, the reaction force from F1. So, what is beginner Ollie? So this beginner Ollie happens when we first get on the skateboard. Therefore, it only has four types of forces. So, for our sample calculation, it's given that F1 is 150 Newton, N is 200 Newton, F2 is 50 Newton, and W is 80 Newton. And with the reaction force from F1, we are assuming that it has the efficiency of 80%, which is 120 Newton. Using the formula, we can get to the resultant force value, which is 40 Newton. To sum up, the output force on the board is 40 Newton, and this value would be enough to lift the board for the basic Ollie and can proceed to the higher Ollie when the forces increase.
Hi everyone, now I'm going to explain about the scenario 2, which is the high Ollie. In scenario 2, in order to get a higher Ollie compared to the first Ollie, the forces are required to be increased so that the resultant force acting on the skateboard also increase. Before calculate the resultant force, we can actually know that the resultant force is acting upward as the skateboard had pushed upward by the force. By using the formula, we can easily get the resultant force value, which is 105 Newton.
In conclusion, the Ollie is a perfect blend of physics and skill, showcasing Newton's law of motion in action. By understanding the science behind this trick, we gain a deeper appreciation for the athleticism and precision of skateboarding. That's all from us. Thank you.